And if I was on the receiving end of that, I don't know about you guys, but I'd be pretty pissed. Hi Spark Joy Gang, this is an episode I wanted to do during the holidays because I felt that during this time we're around a lot of family members, we're probably with our partners a lot if we're in a relationship, and it's just about navigating these relationships the best way you can during times like the holidays. So sit back tight, this is going to be a really good episode, and I want you to just reflect with each question I ask you how that applies to your life if you've experienced that before, and I'm going to give you the tips of what you can do moving forward to improve every relationship in your life. For anyone that's new here, my name is Annie, I am your host. I talk all things to do with mindfulness, personal development, creativity, expanding your life, and so much more. If you want to get up-to-date notifications about the videos that are coming out, I highly recommend you subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you can get reminded of every single video that comes out by me. So, these questions I'm going to ask you. So this is the first part of this video. These questions I want you to reflect on and be truly honest with yourself. You're welcome to shut your eyes. I'd actually recommend having headphones on so you can listen to this by yourself and not out loud around others if you are with them. And just allow yourself to sit in that space and know that this video, I'm holding you in this space. Everyone else who has done this, we will be holding you in this space, whether that was before you or after you, and we're all here to support each other. Are you someone that has or is experiencing your relationships codependency? And that can be from the lack of space that you have in the environment that you live in. Question 2, are you experiencing communication issues? So when you spend so much time with your partner or with someone, that allows communication to break down. Partners may struggle to express their needs clearly, which leads to a lot more misunderstandings and frustrations. Question 3, can you honestly answer the question of who are you? Who am I? Without saying anything external or materialistic about yourself. It's okay if the answer is no. Well done for being so vulnerable and honest. I know I've had this in my past. It is normal for people to experience this, and it manifests with a lack of space and also feeling trapped in your relationship. Question 4, do you experience resentment in your relationship? This is because when we spend so much time with our partners, there's a feeling of not being able to pursue your interests and your hobbies, which can lead to resentment because of the lack of space you have to do that. Question 5, do you regularly burn out? And I don't just mean physical burnout, I mean emotional burnout. These are two very different things. If we're physically burnt out, we feel that we can't do anything physically and we need to rest, but we're still quite alive in our body regardless. If we're emotionally burnt out, we're also mentally burnt out, and we almost feel that there is a big rock ahead of us that we cannot face on our own, and we cannot do it, and it's almost a sense of just giving up and surrendering. Have you experienced this? And if so, what has shown up for you? And the emotional and mental burnout, this can also be an indication where you're spending so much time together that can also lead to boredom, and that is totally okay to say. You're an individual who needs all their needs met, and it can't come from one relationship. So it is totally normal and okay to admit this. If you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you would give it a like, share and subscribe. This helps me grow my channel and reaches the people out there that need to hear this message. Number 6, do you feel that there is a slight stagnation in your relationship? Or do you feel that you haven't fully invested in your personal growth or well-being as much as you had in the past? If so, this could also feel that there is a lack of vibrancy in the relationship. I know a lot of people say after the honeymoon stage it all goes and there's no vibrancy. That is actually a complete lie. Yes, okay, there's a heightened there's heightened feelings in this honeymoon phase, and they've proven it through neuroscience and our brain chemicals. But when we come from a new relationship into a mid-term, long-term relationship, that doesn't have to change. The vibrancy doesn't have to die. It's about nourishing it, and how you nourish it is giving it to yourself first. So if you're experiencing that stagnation, that's also an indication that you may be needing your own time. And the last one, do you experience a lack of intimacy in your relationship? And guys, I just want to be clear, that is totally okay. It is very normal for people to experience a lack of intimacy when they spend so much time together. And this is just highlighting how important it is for not only ourselves, for our own intimacy and our own time by ourselves, but also allowing that vibrancy that we've created in ourselves into our relationship and bringing that together. Imagine two people that have had their own time to self-reflect, be in their presence of themselves, and come together and they create a really energizing, vibrant, intimate relationship. This is something that we have never been taught. This is something that nobody likes to talk about. It can be quite taboo at times, but I'm here to tell you it is totally normal. When you spend so much time with someone, that is going to be a factor. So if you ticked maybe 2 or 3 boxes of that, I want you to listen to the rest of this video, because it's going to help you hugely. Now I want to flip it on the other side. Why it is so important to have your own time in relationships, because this is where we can use this time to grow and to build our relationships. Do you want to come here? Okay, so you're very much on your own. Come here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, okay. So Nala wanted to join today. So, personal growth, Nala. Space. We need some space, don't we? Nala wants to go now, so say bye to everyone. Bye. Okay. So, coming back to it, one reason why it is so important to have your own time for your own personal growth. And by personal growth, I mean staying in the presence of self, diving into your interests and hobbies, doing what makes you thrive, and really owning that unapologetically. Another reason, maintaining independence. When we set ourselves time by ourselves, that allows us to organically maintain our friendships outside of our relationships and set goals that's in alignment and peace to ourselves. Another point, it reduces dependency. When you're constantly with someone and you're together all the time, it can actually manifest into emotional dependency, where you rely on the other person's happiness for your own. And that is totally okay to say. It is, everyone has experienced it at some point, and I want you to know that this is just an educational tool for you to then go out in the world and rebuild these relationships that mean so much to you. Another reason why it's so important to have your own time is you have a deeper appreciation for each other. The absence can grow emotional connection even more, and the bondings can become more stronger, and the commitment to each other. It also allows communication to flow better, because you're having your own space to reflect, review, reevaluate, and understand your feelings and processing them. And it also allows you to communicate better to your partner about these feelings, or about this evaluation that you've realized, or this epiphany, or this self-awareness that you've realized recently, and it allows you to create a deeper bond through that realization. But when you share your moments of, oh my gosh, I had this whole epiphany and this breakthrough and this emotion that came over me, and I've realized this from this and this, and you share your experience, that encourages your partner to go and do the same, and encourages them to get a better way of living for themselves as well. And last point, it is a huge stress relief to have time away from your partner, because it allows a deeper connection to yourself, maintains your own identity, allows you to engage in activities that you wouldn't have done if you were together in each other's presence all the time. So now we've identified the factors if you're experiencing a relationship where you need more time, and what that looks like. We've also talked through the benefits of when you're on your own. It can be daunting for a lot of people when they haven't had their own time in a very long time, especially if you have kids. This is a deeper and bigger commitment to yourself. Now I want to go into the how. How can you spend that time by yourself in a nourishing, healthy way, but allows you to come back more vibrant, more expansive, more in a presence of love to your loved ones and your relationship? Number one, committing to open communication, but effective communication. What I mean by this is we ditch the idea of pointing fingers and blame and staying in our own perspective. We are now letting the egos go as much as we can, sitting with our partner or our loved one, maybe share our experience and then listen to theirs, and then together come to a resolution of what we can find that can bring us back together in a more harmonious way, but allows us to have our own time. If you are someone that wants to communicate that you want your own time in the relationship, this is also a very good point. If you, I would highly encourage you to avoid doing it over text or call, because this can manifest into even more miscommunications and frustrations. You want to do it in each other's presence. You want to do it when the other person hasn't just come in from work, or they're flustered and all you can see their nervous system is so dysregulated. And when you communicate it in that way, you're not pointing the finger, you're not blaming, you're actually wanting to give a handout and say, do you want to do this together? Point number two, schedule me time. And what I mean by that is, what gives you that sense of fulfillment and lights you up and sparks that joy in you when you do things that are me time? This can be self-pleasure, this can be self-care, this can be all different factors. If you find that you're someone that just wants to go to the spa with your girls, or you want to spend time and do the things you love to do, you want to go to the cinema on your own, do these things as me time. It doesn't have to be a whole week long. It can be maybe an overnight thing with your friends or yourself. It can be literally up to an hour if you really wanted to. Number three, pursue your individual hobbies. And I want you to get really clear on this. If you are someone who you're in a position where it's been so long you don't actually know what your hobbies are anymore, because factors like work, relationships, kids is overpowering and is taking that time, I want you to come back to remembering what your life was like before this previous job, before kids, before the relationship, and see where your interest lied. And I want you to also find one activity that allows you to tap into your creativity. This can be with just a notepad. If you've looked at my other videos, you'll know that there is a mindfulness art practice that I do every single morning, where I create in my notepad, I draw and I use different colors. That is a part of self-care for me. That is a part of me time. It allows me to recollaborate myself and understand myself, but also realign and pursue the goals and the hobbies that I love to do. When we can do this in our creativity, that allows us to problem solve better in our relationships. Number four, setting boundaries. And what I mean by this is, yes, it is up to you and it is your responsibility to communicate your boundaries on what you need, but it's also respecting the other person's boundaries, even if they're not in the position to solely clearly communicate that because they don't have the courage yet. It's about, in that present moment, seeing through self-awareness what you need, but also what they may need that they cannot see or communicate right now. It's so important to communicate these boundaries without guilt. And when we can do that and practice it and do it from a place of self-love, regardless of how scary it is, I promise you guys that is where the vibrancy can reignite in your relationships, in your friendships, within yourself. And that is how we can find that peace. Tip number four, encourage each other when it comes to your own interest, hobbies, and goals. Because when we encourage each other, we lift each other up. This is an optimistic, positive communication and connection that we can build. It's not something that is expected, it is something that is built. And if it's diminished at this time, you can rebuild it through communication. When we speak from our hearts, and when we can see in ourselves that our intentions mean well, we speak out and we're literally speaking our life through our throats and it is coming out. So whatever we say, it has to feel good because that's where we're in alignment. Point 6, plan solo outings. This goes back to one of the other points, which is do you time. Make yourself have a date on with yourself, for yourself. Go out and do some shopping if you like. Go out in nature. Go to a spa by yourself. Go to the cinema by yourself. Take yourself out for dinner. These things are so important for you to do, more than we realise. It may be scary at first to take yourself on a date, but I promise you, when you go out, you'll realise how many other people actually do that. Point number 7, you need to utilise technology mindfully. When we're in relationships, it's so easy to just sit down on the sofa at night and watch the TV or be on our phones. I've been guilty of that before as well. But through my own awareness, I've noticed that actually is breaking down the relationship, and you are not pursuing self-growth together. You are actually almost putting the pause button on. And there's all this time that is taken from you. And if you really enjoy watching films and movies, that is so fine. If you enjoy scrolling, that's fine. Set yourself a time limit though. And allow yourself to do that in your own space as me time. Because spending time with someone is so valuable that if we're spending that time watching TV or on our phones, it's almost communicating a message of, I don't value your time. And if I was on the receiving end of that, I don't know about you guys, but I'd be pretty pissed. Last point, adopting self-care rituals. When was the last time you had a bath? When was the last time you took yourself to have a really good, healthy meal? When was the last time you went and got your feet done, or your hands done, or your hair done? Had something that allowed you to practice that self-care routine. So that's it for today, guys. We've gone through to identify, is this you? What the benefits are to spending time by yourself, but also how can you revitalize own relationships? And these points, I want you to just pick out 2 or 3 maximum. I don't want you to get overwhelmed at all these points and spread yourself thinly. I just want you to focus on that 1, 2, 3 things and incorporate that as a habit over time. And don't put the pressure on yourself to do it right here, right now. This is something that is integrated over a period of time, and we need to allow time for that to come through. If you enjoyed this video, I will see you on the next one. Simple as that. See ya.